Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm over here grabbing some stuff in the electrical drawer, and I'm going to take you guys along for the ride with Death Trap here, because we got Motor Mania coming up this weekend. It is going to be Friday night. There's going to be just a little bit of a, demo skid for the crowd. Then we've got Saturday night where the main burnout event is, and we're taking Death Trap and Crypt Keeper, and we've got a little bit of work to do. So we'll swing over there to Death Trap here in a minute, but we've got to get the Camaro, which is ungodly placed on the hoist, it looks like. And we've got to get Crypt Keeper on there because you guys know transmission issues. So this transmission has to go in. It's already Tuesday night. But let's head on over to Death Trap. So diagnosis. I remember I backed it out. I had it running, backed it out. I drove it up by the shop, shut it off, and it never restarted. Now, here is what I have found. So I've gone ahead and done a lot of stuff. I'm not proud of any of this, guys, so don't take my work for, don't take any advice from me on how to do wiring. But we have MSD 10 plus coil. And then down here, we have a terminal strip. This is, let me look. This is main power in. So this is feeding from the bottom. Doesn't make a difference. This is just how I set it up. And then you've got these jumpers here feeding all these other items that need power all the time. Cuts off here. This is signal from ignition, and it feeds a few things there. I think three things there. Got my points. And then over here on this far end, let me get underneath. Over here on this far end, we have the ground signal. Now this wire here I've added, which was up on top, the original one. There's a couple other grounds there. Now, I could move that back up, but let me see here. This is the original wire that was on that top terminal strip. This was going directly from that. So on the bottom side, again, that is ground feeding it, chassis or body ground. This is the wire coming off one of the terminals on the top. Now these were nice fork terminals. They're shrink tube connector, or shrink tube on the connectors. Tried making it look decent. Now this one went from here to the MSD 10 plus box as the main negative. And if I take a meter, so for any of you guys curious, this is my little multimeter. And if you go to ohms, which is here, a little horseshoe, but better yet, we're going to come down here to one with a beeping. So if there's continuity through the lead, beeping. If there's not, which I'll probably make a fool of myself because I know I've already checked it and it didn't work. Bear with me here. So as you can see, with terminal ends touching both of the probes, and they are touching very well, there's nothing. Again, touch probes together, nothing through the wire. Now maybe if I jiggle this wire, something might happen, but all in all, this little wire here was the culprit. So cheap Amazon wire, guys, just a forewarning. I can guarantee you that this is cheap Amazon wiring. Now obviously it looks bent here, so maybe there's an issue there. It doesn't matter. Throw it out. So I got the new wire on there. Probably another cheap Amazon wire again. Put a terminal on there. Run this up to the MSD 10 plus. I did get an MSD 8 plus. This is how I kind of narrowed it down. Unfortunately, I started throwing parts at it, which, I had this. Otherwise, I would have done a lot more research first. And I had another coil. Put all this in there. Same issue. So that's when I started tracing backwards, which I should have done the first time, but I just thought for sure that the coil or the ignition went bad. These are very old modules. MSD 10 plus hasn't been made for, gosh, 10, 15 years. So they don't service this kind of stuff anymore either, to my knowledge. I think I said that in the last video, that it's pretty old. But long story short, that's what the issue is. So let's get a fork terminal on this. Let's get that hooked back up there with our main power. And then our power and ground to our ignition will also come up here to the box. And then there's a wire here that needs to go back up to the negative. This is from the Holly. That goes up to our negative on the coil. So we'll get that put back on there, and then everything should be good to go. Dominator bolted back up. MSDN, let's get the coil, or the distributor cap put back on there. That's got a couple Allen bolts, and then we should be ready to test fire this thing. So again, I've checked it already. I do have spark up here that is a plug in directly to the coil, and I've confirmed everything works before I bolt all this stuff back in. But let's get it in there. Again, a little diagnosis of what I've come up with, so hope you guys appreciate this kind of content. I could do this stuff all the time for you guys if you guys want to learn. I'm not sure I'm the best person to learn from, but you could learn from my mistakes, that's for sure, so that way you guys don't make the same mistake. Cheap Amazon wire, cheap terminal strip. Yeah, avoid those two things. I'll show you here what we have to replace this if Adam gets time, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Let's wire it up. Well, everything is tidied up. I got the Dominator bolted back up underneath. Ignition box, the wire hooked up for the Dominator to get signal to the coil. Caps back on, plugs back in, number one, plug wire, ignition wire from the coil, so we're all good. Battery should be charged up. I tendered that because we were cranking it over some. Got gas. Let's go ahead and set you up on the tripod here. Go ahead and crack the door open so I don't asphyxiate and kill myself. I need to be around to make you guys more content, you know. Let's give her a little squirt of some juice. Let's bring this baby to life. Come on, baby. Well, thank goodness that took care of the issues with the truck. So, ignition box, nothing had to be changed. So we still have a good spare through inside the tote here. We're definitely going to need to make sure we take that stuff along with us just in case there is an issue. But at this point, we're good. I don't know if we need to change oil, need to talk to Jason, but we've got to get this out. We've got to get the four-wheeler out of the way, and then we've got to get Crypt Keeper out, go through everything in the back, make sure we've got everything. And then unfortunately, we've got a couple side-by-sides in the way. We've got Burning Green, and we've got the Camaro, so we can get this over there. But that's tomorrow night's project. Get this thing fired up, double-check everything over, and I just run the transmission that's in it. But, you know, I hate to do more damage when we have that transmission sitting on the other side of the shop that came out of Burning Green that's not being used. So we probably should do the right thing. Put that transmission in it. Take this one apart. We'll send it over with Jason since he put the RTV in the output shaft and let him go through everything. Because it's going to have to be, unfortunately, gone through with a fine-tooth comb because every orifice, every nook and cranny, everything has to be double, triple checked because we got a brand new torque converter, brand new clutch pack kit, all that stuff to go in it. So we really don't want to ruin it again with all that brand new stuff. So they don't give it away, but thanks for Holly for helping hook us up with the torque converter. So we'll go over that stuff. And then I want to show you the part that we're going to replace inside Death Trap here. Let me go over to the other side of the shop. So now we have used these before. It's part number 75643HC. and this is a black one, but we used a red one in Crypt Keeper. What this is a solid state relay. So you run your main in here, don't quote me, but I think it's a 6 gauge, maybe 8, but I think 6 gauge wire in there. That's your main power coming in. Then you can run 4 circuits, as it states here, up to 35 amps. And then what you do with this block, obviously mount to your firewall, run your main in. These would go out to fans, water pump, you know, I don't know what else everybody else runs, but that's pretty much all we run. You may have a fuel pump. Then these wires here, these terminal strips, one of these has to be grounded, I think. Ground, which is this one. And then I don't recall which one, but you can either put power in or a ground signal. And then what you do is, what we do is, since we run Dominators and everything, or any kind of Holly product, and I'm sure you can obviously do it with a Haltech or any other brand out there, it doesn't really make a difference. If you can send an output signal, or you could run a toggle switch. We like to have ours computer controlled, but you send a signal out. So at 100 degrees, I tell Jason to send a signal out to turn the fan on, trips this, sends a ground signal, turns the main power on in the solid state relay, sends power out to the fan. And same with the water pump. I think his water pump turns on at, I should set it at 69 just to make him happy, but I think it's 60 degrees just to get some water flowing and stuff and make sure everything's working. And then, like I said, fan at 100. But these things are nifty. Literally mount them, main power, send power out, and run it from the Dominator, and takes care of all of that stuff. And then what we'll do is, I think I have some somewhere, we just run like a main lug, that a 2-bolt lug with a single terminal, run your main power up to there, and then you can distribute off of whatever. So that's what we're going to put in there, but I just got to find the time to do it. I've got another one there for the Camaro. I've got wiring harnesses. Like I said, Holly has been more than generous to help us out with this stuff. This here is going to be input harness for the J2A connector, so we can run pressure transducers and check our crankcase pressure. We've got billet fuel caps for Crypt Keeper, because I never put one on, intakes and all that stuff. So huge thank you to them for helping out with all the projects. You know, we've got Earl's on board. I've got a driven banner we've got to get hung up. You know, we've got other people, just like the back of the truck. We've got Excess Power that always helps us out. Rad Racing and Development. Burnout Masters, hopefully we can get in their game. Motion Race Works. And hopefully, again, if somebody else wants to jump on board and help us out, tires, fuel, any kind of stuff like that, we'd appreciate anybody that wants to help contribute to either the trucks, us, ourselves, or anything of that nature. So that's going to do it for tonight. I'll come back out tomorrow, and hopefully Jason can come over and we can help tear his turd apart. Man, we should have been recording earlier. Dr. Mike would be proud of you, Jason.
Yeah.
Look, show him your hands.
Got dirty.
Oh my God.
My knees. Look at my knees.
I don't know where the hell that got dirty from. But yeah, we've got Crypt Keeper pulled in here, obviously, as you can tell.
Trans.
Oh yeah, he's been touching a tranny. Man, my lens sometime. So yeah, we got Crypt Keeper pulled in here, as you can tell, and Jason has already gone to work. Done a little bit anyways. I did most of the rest. And it's ready to come out already. So this one's pretty simple. Just took the cross member off, a couple tranny lines, torque converter, and yeah, she's ready to slide on out of there. And we're going to replace it with the transmission that came out of Burning Green, since it's not going anywhere at this point. So it's sitting here just chilling. And this one isn't as good of a case or anything, but we'll be fine. And actually, Jason, if you wanted to, we could put that scatter shield on. Nah, we won't waste it on this. We'll keep it for the Camaro.
Huh?
We got that brand new scatter shield over there to go up around the bell housing, you know, to be safe. But we're going to save that. We're not going to waste it on this. Hey, actually, we don't need it for the Camaro now, since we've got a nice transmission for it coming, thanks to FTI. But anyways, pull this out, swap it out, and I've got an issue here again with the header. Now, probably was maybe welded too hot, Jason. I don't know. It's been welded a couple times, maybe too hot. It's MIG weld. It's carbon wire on stainless. So I know there's a few things we're not doing right there, but I've never had such a problem. I mean, it's what, 2 foot of pipe there for the rest of it with no hanger, but I don't think that should be too long. But I don't know. We'll try it again. If it breaks again, maybe we'll just add a hanger off the rusty floor up here. Yeah, but this transmission, as you can tell, like I said, it's got the SFI approved bell on it. We did put a new tail housing on there, but
Hey, remember how it broke? Wasn't sitting in that 5-gallon.
oh
bucket
yeah,
very good?
yeah. Well, let's not break this one. So, torque converter. What are we running? Well, we're not running this one because Jason ran all kinds of shit through it. So I guess whatever
Running
was.
everything that's in there.
Yeah. Well, we don't even have a clue what specs are on that, Jason. But
Probably 6,900.
yeah, it'll spin when it revs up and it'll drive the transmission. And Jason will turn enough RPM that will be above the stall limit.
Yep.
So we should be good. So let's go ahead and slap that in, and we'll have to check the tranny fluid in it, but it should be good. It didn't leak nothing out the tail shaft, and then we've got a little bit of cleanup work to do back here. We need a breather hose off the rear end because we're kind of spewing out a little bit of rear end fluid there, so we'll check that level, and then a couple other things. We do still have this leak on this Holly oil pan up here that I'm sure we've got an issue with an O-ring up in this pan, but it's getting a little bit worse. So we'll have to address that at another time. Oh, it's break time, guys. So, all right, well, we'll check back in an hour and see if we got the tranny in. Okay, well, that worked out better than I thought. So we've got the line on the driver's side. Didn't have to change anything. That valve cover's on there. And the passenger one, I just flipped this around, put the 45 up here, and put the 90 down there. So it might look a little bit janky, but oh well. It's a bunch of AN lines zigzagging all over the place. The only thing Jason and I are questioning is venting off our dry sump tank. There is pressure from having a pump, essentially pumping oil and sucking potential vacuum at idle and stuff. But there's pressure coming out of this. We have this also tied into the tank, which is this top one. We're not sure if maybe this is causing issues versus the valve cover, so we're thinking about putting a small single quart one, maybe even if we just zip tie it on for this event just to try it and run this tank, well, that tank, from there, this line to a separate one. So maybe we can weed out if it's engine or dry sump tank. And I'm sure I would be told by the engine builder that there's a sensor right there that's missing a connector. And it's supposed to acquire some kind of data. The dash always says air. So we're not getting any of that data to really get crankcase pressure is what that's for. So let's go to the other side of the shop. Let's check on Jason and see potentially what's not getting done. I can already hear him. Not a lot, he says. Well, the transmission jack is out, which means the transmission's in. And unfortunately, Jason, what's the situation over here?
That belt housing has extra ears on the top.
Let me zoom in here. Yep, so those two ears at the very top. And they're missing?
You can see them on the...
Oh yeah, so right up there is where they should have went. But this is a stock case, and unfortunately they don't have those. How many bolts did you end up with?
Well, if I see this hole here, then maybe I can stick it from this side. Where's it at? Right there?
Yep, okay.
If I drill that one out so I can fit a bolt in there, it'll be 4.
Well, it only had 4 to begin with, which I think is enough, but unfortunately with those two missing, he got a bolt in this bottom one here, which we never were able to before. 3 bolts enough? You probably better.
I got these 2 right here.
Oh, so
That's
5.
No, well, we better do this one so it's 6.
Yeah, between 6 and 9 bolts. Yeah. Yep, knew that was coming. Well, yeah, so that's in. Just got to do what do you got left? Drive shaft, shifter cable, torque converter, and then drill that bolt out. And then I got to get that exhaust manifold off. The only reason why I haven't taken that off and went to work on death traps because we need EGTs unplugged when it's let down. And yeah, if I didn't say drive shaft, so yeah, got the cross member, everything's in. So all right, we'll see how far he gets tonight. I'll help him a little bit here, and we still have one problem with death trap, Jason, that we didn't fix. It needs a fuel filter, we think. We ordered the wrong one, and it was running out of fuel pressure at Weston's, which is not good. So we might just have to overnight one and send it up there, or send it somewhere, motel or something.
Part number is never wrote it down nowhere, brother.
So yeah, we'll get that figured out, but yeah, I think that's pretty much gonna be it. So I'll give you an update when this is done. We'll give it a trial run. Death traps we ironed out, except the fuel filter, basically. So we should probably do a valve lash when we get there. We'll talk about this, but we won't do it. But yeah, we'll give you some updates here in a bit. When the manifold's off, I'll weld that up, and then we'll get everything together. All right, well, I guess the update before the burnout video comes out. Jason, I think the last clip we were putting a transmission in, and I don't think we showed it anymore. Unfortunately, we had to pull it back out. So Jason played with this tranny some more. He got that out. Swapped the torque converter in it. That was the issue with it. It was out of the LS, so it had a wider spread pattern. But we got that put back together, and we're up here at Motor Mania. This one's running good. Death Trap. Like I said, we're going to do a test run. We pulled the fuel filter out, and we're going to run it without it on the 10 micron. I know it's not the right thing to do, but there's still a 100 micron back in line. We didn't have one, so we'll run without that. If there's still an issue, I did grab another fuel pump, which is way down in this front corner right here. So that mechanical pump, oh, there it is. I did grab another one of those and bring it with us. So we'll do a test run sometime this afternoon here, which will be in the next video. And then we will have the main event, which is Saturday. But otherwise, we've got everything pretty much ready to go. I think we just got all the shirts and whatever we had in the back here unloaded. Got a few more things. Drag a cord over to the free power source over there. Got a few of those. Start charging batteries up, and then, like I said before, we probably should run valve lash and a few other things, but we'll see if we do that. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next one, for the burnout actual video. Like I said, we've got Cuddles is showing up. Jacko, what's today going to be, Tanner?
Just a test in it.
Tomorrow is going to be
The winning day.
it's going to be a great day. That's what you're supposed to say.
It's going to be a great day.
All right, like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.